We don't have a quorum quite yet, but we're going to go ahead and start operating as a subcommittee. Senator Koenig, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, members of the committee. Senator Andrew Koenig from the 15th District here to present Senate Bill 1134. This is mainly dealing with the Missouri Ethics Commission. Their fees, late fees, hasn't been changed in numerous years, decades at this point in time. And then also, when you're doing your reports, there's categories of $100 and less. We're changing that. We're basically doubling these things. So the penalties are doubling, and then so are those categories. It's going from $100 to $200. We're also changing a provision in there allowing a number of years ago, they limited what you could put your funds in. We're adding mutual funds to that list as well. There's also in the committee sub, there is a definition of the Missouri Ethics Commission that they wanted us change because it's inaccurate in statute. So we're fixing that as well. And then also when dealing with LLCs who contribute, the Missouri Ethics Commission has made a determination that for some reason, if they make a contribution to your campaign, then somehow that's doing business in the state of Missouri. I think this is false. And so we're clarifying that. And because by definition, it's a donation, it's not actually doing business in the state of Missouri. So that's a fix for any LLCs that are making contributions to campaigns in the state of Missouri. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Just a couple. So on the investments piece, as I understand it right now, basically every type of committee other than a candidate committee can invest in mutual funds.
Correct.
And so this is just adding candidate committees to that list.
No, we're adding, for the candidate committees, we're adding the word mutual funds.
Right. So
Yep.
so in other words, if this were to pass, every committee, whether it's a continuing committee or a candidate committee, would be eligible
Yeah.
to invest in mutual funds.
Correct.
Okay. So this would be like a money market account.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on the
And that's especially true if you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's a limit on FDIC insurance, and so adding these other instruments, especially in an inflationary standpoint, or if an unstable banking market would make sense.
Okay. And do we know and I don't know if somebody from the MEC is going to be here to testify on the bill. Do we know if they're in support, if they have?
So there was definitely things that they definitely like some of the things, like for instance, the certified mail. Sometimes the fee itself is actually more or as costly to send that out than the $10 late fee. So like there's stuff in here I'm not saying that they support the whole bill, but we put stuff in here that they did want.
Okay. And then on the contributions by foreign LLCs, so they're taking the position that if a foreign LLC, which means an LLC that's not incorporated in Missouri. Oh, yeah. We're going to pause for a second, take the roll so that we can establish quorum. Madam Secretary, please call the roll. Oh, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Vice Chair Rowden. Here. Senators Brown, 16. Eigel. Luetkemeyer.
Here.
May.
Here.
We have a quorum. I would now make a motion that we go into executive session. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those contrary, no. The ayes have it. We are in executive session. I now make a motion to bring up before the committee for consideration Senate Concurrent Resolution 26. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those contrary, no. The ayes have it. The SCR is before the committee. For the benefit of the committee, this is the resolution we heard last week. We actually have two identical resolutions, one from, I think, Senator McCreery and then one from Senator Moon. So what it does is it reinstates or asks Congress to reinstate the mandatory country of origin labeling for meat. Is there any discussion on the SCR? Seeing none, I make a motion to pass Senate Concurrent Resolution 26. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairwoman O'Loughlin. Vice Chair Rowden. Aye. Brown, 16. Eigel. Luetkemeyer.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Williams.
By your vote of 5-0, you have voted to pass Senate Concurrent Resolution 26, and I make a motion to bring up before the committee Senate Concurrent Resolution 36. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those contrary, no. The ayes have it. As mentioned before, this is an identical SCR to the last one we just voted out unanimously. I would now make a motion to vote do pass Senate Concurrent Resolution 36. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairwoman McLaughlin. Vice Chair Rowden. Senators Brown 16, Igel, Luetkemeyer,
Aye.
May,
Aye.
Williams.
By your vote of 5-0, you have voted do pass Senate Concurrent Resolution 36. I would now make a motion that we exit executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Senator May. We are out of executive session. We are back on Senator Koenig's Senate Bill 1134.
I got questions.
I've got one more question I wanted to ask. So on the foreign LLC provision,
So they've
commission-
taken a position that by an LLC giving you a contribution that they are somehow doing business in the state of Missouri and would have to register with the Secretary of State's office.
Okay.
Which, and I just find that preposterous because it's literally a donation.
okay. So, but foreign LLCs, even if we pass this, would still be required to file that disclosure
Correct.
document.
Yes.
To give. So
Correct.
And just for the committee's benefit, we have two different registration processes. If an LLC is either set up in Missouri or does routine business in Missouri, they have to register with the Secretary of State's office.
Mm-hmm.
And then if an LLC, whether in or out of Missouri, whether they do business in Missouri or not, if they make donations, they have to register on an MEC portal separate from the Secretary of State.
Correct.
Just so that voters can look and see where this money is coming from.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
And so, yeah, they would still have to register with the MEC and file that, that paperwork there.
Okay,
They
Senator
just-
May, you had some questions.
Yes. So my question is, why are we increasing this to $100 for? Wait a minute, let me see. I had it at first. For the committees, the committee.
So basically, what I did is we looked at it, and I pretty much just doubled everything. So, the reason why is like the $10 fee, we changed it to $20.
Why?
Well, because it was personally, I don't care that much about that piece, but one thing I did care about is I thought for the purposes of doing your reports, those categories changing from $100 to $200, we've had a lot of inflation over the last 40 years, and so I thought that would make it easier for you to do your reports. And the Missouri Ethics Commission asked that those fees get raised since it's been like 40 years since they've been raised.
So what is the Missouri Ethics Commission using those fees for? So the increase in
Well,
salary
it
or
actually
what?
goes to general revenue, I believe.
It goes to general revenue. And so they're increasing our fees to go to general revenue. I'm opposed. Okay.
I mean, we can take that. We can take that. I actually put it in there because I didn't want to be accused of, being soft. But if you think it's appropriate to take that piece out, I'm not opposed to that. The piece that I cared about is I wanted to fix the LLC situation. I wanted to, for the categories of reporting, I thought it made sense to, change it from $100 to $200 for those categories. It just makes it easier to do your reports because we've had a lot of inflation over time.
Why make it easier to do your reports by increasing my fee to $200 if I don't?
Well, that's a penalty. Is if you don't file your report.
Right, them penalties. A day.
What is it now?
100 a day.
We essentially just doubled everything, is what we did.
That's terrible.
Well, if you don't like it, remove that part. I'm not tied to that part.
Yeah. Tell them they're not getting that.
Senator Williams.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was clear on everything. So, tell me the part that you care about,
All right.
and
So
explain to me the motivation behind it.
yeah. So there's right now when you do your reports, you have categories. So if you have an expense that's, let's say, $25, $30, you can put them all in the same category. instead of individually putting them in. So we're raising that from $100 to $200. So that part I thought would just make it easier for everybody to do their reports. The other piece is I want
How
to
would it make it? You mean make it easier for people to do it to avoid the fine?
No. That has nothing to do with the fine,
How would it make it easier?
because you wouldn't have to itemize as many items when you do your reports.
Oh, you would not have to.
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
So you would be able to.
It's just easier to-
categorize it.
Correct.
Versus having to do each independently.
Yeah, and put the address down and everything.
But do you? But okay, so raising that threshold means because right now anything under 100 we do not have
Correct.
to itemize.
Correct.
Anything over 100. Okay.
So we're raising that to 200, so it actually
Okay.
makes your life easier.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay.
And then the LLC fix. So for if you have an LLC that's outside the state of Missouri, or any LLC, they still have to fill out the paperwork with the MEC. But the MEC made a ruling that didn't make sense to me. They said they have to register with the Secretary of State's office, which they only have to do that if they're doing business in the state. And a donation, by definition, is not doing business in the state. It's a donation.
Okay, so it would do away with what would be deemed as an out-of-state LLC not having to register with the Secretary of State's office to make a contribution. To
Correct. They still would have to register with the MEC.
Okay, but not with the Secretary of
Correct.
State's office, which is required now.
Well, it was a rule that they promulgated. There's nothing in statute saying they have to.
Okay.
And I think if someone filed a lawsuit on it, they would probably win because
Yeah, I don't
it's
think
on
a
the-
company should have to register with the Secretary of State just
Right.
to make a contribution to
Right.
someone. I mean, it could
Right.
be $20. It'll cost more to
Right.
do it than the contribution, depending on what it is.
Right.
Okay.
And then the third piece is the mutual fund piece. Right now, candidate committees cannot put their money in mutual funds, so we're just adding that piece.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Okay. Thank
So
you.
those are the pieces that I care
Yeah,
about.
I mean, and yeah, I understand. Thank you.
So I want to follow up on a part of Senator Williams' questioning, which is the expenses, moving those up from 100 to 200. I understand the administrative ease argument that means you have to itemize fewer items on your report. Certainly makes reports shorter and faster from the candidate's perspective. But I mean, couldn't the argument be made by the public that there's less transparency then?
I mean, you could make that argument, but the statute was put in 1978, I believe, and we haven't changed those numbers forever. And I mean, if the candidate is doing their reports correctly, you can still get an idea of where they're spending their money. It's not like you're hiding it.
Okay.
I mean, if you're spending money on gas or meals or something, like, you're still getting a picture of what's being done.
Okay. Senator May, you had further questions.
yeah, because most of when you're running for campaigns and stuff, and when you're constantly running an office year round, and you still have these workers that are working year round, most of it come from food and gas and
Right.
copies and
Right.
just keeping people relevant. But this is my question. So I'm going back to what I asked the first time. So before I, be a hard on the fees, what does it just go to general revenue, or is it helping to run
I believe it goes
office
to.
of
My understanding is it
Ethics
goes to general revenue, and the legislature funds the MEC in the budget.
I got to look and see what they're funding the MEC.
And the
at
late
and what's their
fee,
employees.
if you don't do a report, is $10 a day, and it's going from $10 to $20.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, like I said, I'm not tied to that piece. If you want to
It's
take it
okay
out.
for people who raise a lot of money. For those who just raise enough money to do their campaign, and that can be a lot.
Yeah.
Plus, when you're not, Okay, thank you.
Senator Williams, you had another question.
Yeah, I think I was just going to more or less make a comment with the itemized expenditure reporting part. I do agree with you. I think, at the end of the day, I mean, so, and I guess I do have a question. So this would also eliminate having to disclose people's information also. If, wasn't it a piece in here you said that would eliminate having to disclose information for folks that are, or maybe I'm thinking about something else. Okay, I'm probably thinking about something else. Okay, and then raising that threshold, I want to second. I don't think that it really would make a difference in terms of transparency because I think you still have to report it.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
You still have to put the category on where that money's being spent, and I do think it helps from an administrative standpoint.
Yep.
So thanks for clarifying that for me.
Sure.
Any further questions for bill sponsor? Seeing none. First witness in support. Seeing none. Any witnesses in opposition? Seeing none. Any witnesses for informational purposes only? Seeing none. Senator Koenig, any concluding remarks?
I mean, I obviously, if you don't like that fee going from $10 to $20, if you want to take it out, take it out.
That'll conclude the hearing on Senate Bill 1134. Before I make the adjournment motion, I saw Senator Eigel walked in. If he would like to cast his vote before we close out the board on the two SCRs, which require labeling of meat products. Aye on two of them, actually. Senator Moon and Senator McCreery had identical SCRs. He's a double aye. Okay, you shall be so recorded as an aye on both of those.
And see if you help me go to the U.S. Senate, I will reverse that law that was removed in 2015.
Well, before we start talking about electioneering inside the Capitol building, I would make a motion that we adjourn. Do I have a second?